Right. That sticky glue is not good. Not good for you, bro. Sticky some throat. I don't know why the internet went go retarded last night and this morning. What's the algorithm, man? Still too early. You got about 2 hours. 2 hours, bro. Come on, we gotta get this stuff ready for the last meal. Well, my evening meal, actually. Salad, wild rice, jackfruit, ginger. Oh, I gotta cut the ginger up. God, man. I forgot. Yeah, man. I forgot, man. I gotta cut the ginger up, man. I gotta cut the ginger up, man. Ginger up, man. Oh, shit, hot lemon, ginger. No orange stuff. No orange. Oh, you from the You gotta put that up. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, we gotta cut the ginger up, bro. Bruh, we gotta cut the ginger up, bruh. Gotta cut the ginger up, bruh. Yeah, oh shit. I gotta put those vitamins up. We gotta cut the ginger up, bruh. What is that? We gotta cut the ginger up, bruh. Got a little while, man. Let everybody go in. It's read time. This ain't smacking upside the head. I'm too emotional for smack upside the head. Correction. Don't mean I'm gonna stop. Get the weak ones out of here, Papa. You know what I mean? No place for weak ones. No cowards. We gotta rinse and boil this off anyway, so. A piece of ginger. This ginger right here is fire right here. This is fire. This ginger you got, and I like hot spicy stuff, but this ginger right here made me sweet. Woo! Woo! It's that good ginger right here, boy. It's that ginger out of Louisiana, Texas, one of them. Woo! Woo! That husk is like, what's that stuff called? Pigium or something like that. We can ski across the room. So that husk is like. Oh, God. Woo! We'll start off by sharing a little history of how the whitewashing started. Let's get some of that shit that I like, that music I like, that you know. Reminds you that you're at war. Whether you like it or not, I don't care. And you're like, oh, he's gonna be nasty. Shut up. Yeah, so I get rid of all you weak motherfuckers. And I mean it. I'm not playing. I want to get rid of all the weak motherfuckers. So if you take it personal, get the fuck on. Because I don't care about you. Seriously, I don't. This is not screen. And anybody will tell you, I'm in front of you and I tell you, because some people are like, if he was in front of me, I wouldn't say it. I'd tell you to your fucking face. I don't give a fuck about you. Now, I love everybody. I care about a lot of things. But I don't give a fuck about dumb sons of bitches. Well, let me get there. No, I ain't no getting nowhere. You're in the last throes of fucking death. I'm gonna sit here attempting to be some fictional, politically correct motherfucker. If you don't understand the importance of the situation, go the fuck somewhere else where they don't care. And how many of y'all know about the Pentecost Indians? Well, it's got to be in it. All right, Pentecost Indians. Everybody that I know from where I'm from know they were Negroes. Now let me show you the whiting out. Okay. When you think about the Cleveland Indians, right? This is the lie these Ashkenazi bastards made. The new, compared to 4 years ago, the new term, well, 5 years ago, the new term for the little Indian mascot with the bow and arrow is an African American. No, he was a Nick, and it's still in the old newspapers, the Negro Indian. And that's what it say. I have it stored somewhere in the news clipping, Cleveland, Ohio. And where you're aware, the original name of the Cleveland Indians was Clement. It was a number of names, but also Nap. And they tried to say it was after this guy, Napoli or whatever, one of the players. You can't make this up. And why would they pick Nap out of all the players? Because his name was so closely associated, but you know more surnames now, right? You see how they goof the people like me around? They can never succeed. You don't believe me? Do the research, okay? And then come up with your own, because you know there's a bunch of idiots gonna go, that's not what it meant, this is what they said. Okay, that's what they said, what do you say? So you buying everything the lies tell you, but you'll argue, and all these Mongols will sit there and fight and argue about them, what they said in their history, it ain't your land and blah, 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 but they brought your asses here, that's why they ignore you. Contradictory to the fact that we who know, what are they going to say to us? Besides having a bunch of dummies that they made sure were dumb. So anyway, Louis Sokoletis. Yeah. Louis Sokoletis. Y'all know who he was. And this is when you go to look him up, right? They want you to believe he was some Mongolian. No, he was a Negro mix. How many different nations came here? A lot of y'all know that I have friends in the military who were of the Pentecost tribe. And if you know what your great-grandmammy and your grandmammy look like, it's easy to see that a lot of our grandparents don't look like African. Our blood brothers and sisters over there on that side of the world, look, they don't, our grandparents totally look different. 1,000% different. All right? So I'm going to show you a picture. Negroes that look Mongolian, and they're not. And some people have a hard time with it. And I'm going to show you the French and Dutch mixtures. Happened in my tribe. And those who might be mistaken as Mongolians, so it was easy to use the Mongolians because I told you the whole world knew each other. But also, the whitewashing was real, especially by a lot of Italians and Dutch and Englishmen. Why? Well, who found Europe? You know, I'm reading this stuff because it's very simple to figure things out. And what people tend to forget about is all the pale skins and Mongols who were around our lands. And after we were being exterminated, bombed, shot, murdered, lynched, burnt, after the war was, we're talking about after the so-called Civil War, we're talking about 1870s, 90s, 1870s, 80s, 90s, 1920s, 40s, 50s, especially when a bunch of them came here. And who you think would stick them in there? Why don't you go and research the people who was acquainting them to being on native lands and tribes? I mean, it's not easy. See, they're probably scrabbling right now. We gotta hide that. We gotta hide that. Yeah, they're bastards. You see Charles Schwab. We already crossed that vector and all those bastards. These motherfuckers are unelected, thinking they're gonna control the world, and nobody's rising up to fight against them. Because in the military, you be telling me we got people in the military that blind and goofy. Oh, that's right. They jabbed up the majority that might turn to fight. Probably promised them we'll cure that. And just don't say nothing. Sign this. And see, that's what y'all don't get about the military. And then you got these monkeys, these fake political monkeys still wanting to take your guns. And yet you don't want to come together. I guess some of y'all some bad Rambo motherfuckers. Huh? Y'all some bad Rambo motherfuckers. How about you ones that ain't got no guns? You just gonna fight 40, 50 men, huh? Or what you gonna say in your goofy ass ignorance? Oh no, I'm gonna take out 1 or 2. As long as I take one. Stupid. Let me show you some pictures of some real Pentecost Indians, because you can't hide Alamane. You can't hide the truth of history. They can hide it all they want. There's those of us raised and reared and nurtured in it, okay? And they have a hard time dealing with the truth. I don't give a goddamn about even the Wabanakis were Negroes, and we can go on and on and on. You know, we can go on and on. No, I'm not reading this stuff. This stuff I know. All right. I'm looking at pictures here, and I want to make sure I pull up the right ones. Okay, so here, this is a Wakanabe. Negro. Probably got some Dutch or French, something mixed in the family, a few generations. All right. Wakanabe. Jah people. Look almost Mongol, right? Now you guess one of these idiots, we're going to find the page and we'll make it correct. Pentecost. There she is again, Pentecost. No Mongolian, no Mongol, no half native nonsense. It's a Negro, Pentecost. Look like nighttime. My great grandpa. Don't want alcohol eyes. Now here we get into the mulatto versions. Oh yeah. You remember the old witch card at the Capitol? All those Negro Pentecost Indians? See that one right there? He reminds me of my cousin and my boy Abdul. No Mongol or Mongolian or nothing, but That's how these Ashkenazi said, we got to take them from the land. We got to make some men. We got just the people to do it. So yeah, your mom goes, you can believe whatever the fuck you want. We don't really give a damn. There's plenty more pictures. I'm not going to run through all that. I want to read. I always wanted to debate and argue with them all because you hate your own true heritage. What culture did y'all create? What, some little rain dancing with a little couple of Copenhagen snuff caps with some bells in it on a dress? They doing that over there. That ain't indigenous dance throughout this land. We know we got some dumb wayward Negroes that actually belong to a tribe that's doing the goofy dance, but no. No, that tippy toe shit. That's the deer, that whatever they call. I forget what Iberia. Yeah, when I was over there, they was doing that dance. A little more. Y'all got a little rhythm from us, and you deny the blood that we have in you. I'm looking at all these Mongols now getting their blood work, and they realize they're not all positive or negative. RH. And we got some brothers and sisters like that too, and ain't nothing we can do about that. So what y'all got to say now? With all this debating and arguing. How the fuck can you be of Spanish descent and deny the actual autochthonous people of the land, but claiming to be Spaniel because you speak Spanish? All of Haiti spoke Spanish at one time. That's the ones that helped Puerto Rico defeat a certain group of motherfuckers. That's right. And before they spoke that, they spoke the Arawak language. Now there's documents showing that a whole lot of slaves didn't go there, and they were from where? Española and France. The people betrayed the ones who didn't want to join in the communion. So they indentured them so they could live and made them work hard, piracy and all that. And then when they got to the land, they used them for combat. Then comes the regular French army, Spanish armies, and so forth. Oh, want me to give you a blow by blow? Or you would rather me read it to you? See, now y'all don't want to read the real history. Okay. That's why they have patois. Y'all know what patois is? I'm attempting to teach Mr. Ace. The brother who travels around to South America. Oh, we found black and Africans, and now he's starting to realize not all of them are Africans. I've always commented on his videos. I enjoy watching him do what he does because, like I said, the whole world is one big family, except for them goddamn Ashkenazis. Take it however you want. You know me. I ain't gonna lose no sleep. Yeah, I'm being very arrogant about it too, because I'm so tired of seeing these stupid bastards always opening their mouths. And then Pelicans I wake up with, they come over and watch like I'm supposed to respect their ignorance. Let's go ahead and get into the Algonquins. Excuse me. Why you got them around like you're fat or something? So we're going to get into the Algonquin conquest of the Mediterranean region of 11,500 years ago. And this is by Samuel Poe. Leave the lizard alone, man. That's why I'm not opening the window, bro. Leave the lizards alone, bro. They're cool. Those ones are cool. It's the other ones you need to learn about. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure we're in the right. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right. Make sure I got the right, because we're about 10 pages in. The last chapter, The Legacy of Atlantis. the legacy of the Atlanteans, excuse me. I want to make sure I got the bullet point down there. There's no setting this up, all right? So just deal with it. No gimmicks. Leave the gimmicks for the gimmicky. Let's get into it. The Atlanteans obviously started out slowly, but over time, their fear of traveling the Atlantic Ocean diminished, to the point where the next step for those early Atlantean navigators was to expand their explorations until they reached the Mediterranean Sea. Eventually, their courage may have led them to explore further out into the Atlantic Ocean in all directions, not just to the Mediterranean region. Now, if those early Atlantean navigators did just that, they certainly over time eventually conquered the world's other oceans, which is very unusual for such a feat to be accomplished so long ago. That's their determination. That's their opinion, excuse me. They determined that based upon their opinion. Now, it was not until 1492 when the pale Europeans decided the Atlantic Ocean needed to be explored. Now, we know that in 1492, it was still mostly a melanated society of people. Anyway, the Atlantic Ocean needed to be explored, and we know from their history books that trade with India and the Far East was the reason why the Europeans made their decision to sail westward out on the Atlantic Ocean. And we know that this is not the West, this is the Far East, this is the old world. We're very well aware of it. And what's funny is how they don't talk about Tartaria. I mentioned that early on about 2 times before reading this. Why? Because everything has been rewritten. History has stopped, right? Now, was the reason why the Europeans made a decision to sail westward out of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, you now have the story of Atlantis to contemplate over as well, and read it and become enlightened. To be realistic, the pale Europeans knew, well, let's just put the Europeans, we're not going to say pale, white, or none of that BS. The Europeans knew that by going south down the west coast of Nubia, it was possible to reach India and the Far East. But I do believe the Europeans were undoubtedly aware of the Atlantis story, and they may have thought that some of Atlantis may have survived the flood that destroyed Atlantis. Now, the thought of parts of Atlantis still out in the Atlantic Ocean, for safety reasons, of course, encouraged to sail westward to try to get to India. He's scratching the window. And the Far East faster, pushed those early European navigators on. But who knows for certain those pale Europeans of the late 15th century were possibly influenced to sail westward out of the Atlantic Ocean only because they wanted to invade the Atlantis they obviously knew about. That, I believe, is much closer to the truth. And once they succeeded in making it to Atlantis, they eventually conquered the world's other oceans easily. Stop it. Stop it. Thank you. We can debate over the question of why didn't the Greeks or Romans eventually send their sailors out into the Atlantic Ocean to explore it. Fear of the unknown was one factor. That's a lie. Another one was the Greeks and Romans were located at a great distance from the Atlantic Ocean. Even though both the Greeks and the Romans resided next to the Mediterranean Sea, which is connected to the Atlantic Ocean. Now, excuse me. Why is that jumping around like that? Anyway, they definitely knew about all the land which surrounded the huge Mediterranean Sea, but not the Atlantic Ocean, of course. That's a lie. The Roman Empire reached out into the Atlantic Ocean. England, of course, are what we would call at the time Prussia, right? But they refused to sail out further than England and Ireland. If the Romans and Greeks had originated on the Atlantic coast of Europe, they may have acted very differently about the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the Atlantean civilizations was not the advanced civilization they want us to believe it was. But again, I have to mention their navigation skills, which realistically tell us a lot. And in fact, that's all we need to know of exactly how advanced the Atlantean civilization was. And their civilization, for the most part, was no more advanced than that of the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. We know that's a lie. Minus their navigation skills, of course. and their public buildings and housings may have resembled to some degree that of the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. They were the first people to discover concrete and cement, as well as indoor plumbing. Again, their indoor plumbing tells us once again that their civilization may have been very advanced. And the Egyptian pyramids and there are quite a few of them, may have been constructed with concrete. And the average weight of those supposedly limestone blocks is in the tons. Now, the Egyptians did know of concrete and cement, and they may have learned about concrete and cement from Atlanteans. Now, I do not see the Europeans making any great changes concerning their belief that the Egyptians did not know of concrete or cement. And if the Europeans do decide to change the historical records, and they already did that 1,000 times over, concerning Egyptian knowledge of concrete and cement, that leaves the door open to the Atlanteans being also capable of using concrete and cement for construction of their public buildings and their homes as well, and to carry those limestone blocks which weighed in the tons, hundreds of feet up. For those ancient times is unthinkable. As different people, stronger than bulls, is unthinkable, but can't be ruled out. I believe that the Egyptians were intelligent enough to know how to grind that limestone or any other stones into a paste to eventually make concrete. Now, of all that has been written and said about the Atlantean people and their civilization, there are only very few traces of information left to us about Atlantis, other than the Atlantis story, which was first written down by the Egyptians, then followed by the Greeks. And there are only two other places that I know of that may tell the world more about, who were and still are the Atlanteans, of course. Now, the monuments of Egypt, with their hieroglyphics, have to have important historical records concerning the Atlanteans and Atlantis. You know why they will never let that out? Because then it would allude to you. And these Peckerwoods and all these foreigners and goofies wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know what to say. They wouldn't know how to act. It's easier for them to deny based upon their ignorance, right? It keeps everything simple than being overly complex, right? Why would a person who believes in the lie they've lived disassociate themselves from their lie that they believe is truth? Very few have done that. Those are the wise and smart ones. All the other ones are foolish. That's why I say to y'all, why do y'all even bother to listen to Umar or any of them fools? They don't know how to tell the story right or anything. They tell you a whole lot of mishmash nonsense. And people buy into it because why? That's what everybody else is talking about. And lately, you've seen that a lot of that has changed. It has went more towards the African American and nobody else's fake ass history. Do you see what I'm saying? New World Order, a new water. Are you aware that this is what they consider all of y'all? No, really. You can Google and look it up. Animals that they can do what they want with. That's another way. That's not verbatim, but that's what they believe y'all to be. Animals that can do whatever they want. The end of Algonquin rule. And I tell you, whatever they're doing is working, because who in their right mind wants to be happy and content knowing that these fools are talking about another round of this, storms here and there, all man-made, or hue of a man-made, mess the food up. The doctors that don't even mean medicine men for healing. And yet y'all are content in that little world you live in. I don't care what crayon color you are. Though you hear me talk very hatefully of racist ideologies and narratives, because I have disdain for y'all. For those who carry on that way, I think you're the bottom, not even the bottom of the shit stain. You're not even the bottom, the first dump in the cistern. You're the funk before the shit. That's how I see you. And that's what you are. Let's get into it. Rome's leaders could tolerate other religions which coexisted with their own religious faiths. But the religion of the Jews was problematic for certain Roman leaders whose idea of God was that themselves. Well, actually, those Negroes had it right. They were not only puzzled by the Jews' religion. Well, there's a creator of all things. But we know that these Jews had to change all that, right? But they were also irritated by the Jews' unwillingness to view them as also being a god. The Jews would terribly aggravate the Romans after Rome assumed Judea as one of their provinces, and scores of Jews and Romans would end up killed or wounded when they stood before each other and discovered that they were incapable of looking each other in the eye. Now, Roman military power was unequal during the height of the Roman Empire, and Jewish leaders during those times certainly recognized Roman military superiority and greatly feared the consequences they faced if they dared question Roman rule in any way. Now, the Jewish rebellions more than angered the mighty Romans, who, if provoked during the time of the height of their military power, had no second thoughts about destroying any and all who dared to seek independence from the Roman Empire. It was not only the Jewish people that paid a horrible price during the Jewish rebellion, but the rebellions were also very costly to the Romans in human lives, and also the great amount of wealth that was required to fight the Jewish rebels. After the Roman partially subjugated the Jewish people, Judea was allowed to elect their own rulers. Judea was still only a client kingdom. And that's in parentheses. A period of relative calm followed, but amongst the Jewish people was a region which to compare it with that of the Romans was quite independently different. And it would also eventually interfere between the relationship between the Jewish people and the Romans in a major way, mind you. And the other differences existed as well between the Jewish people and their Roman subjugators, which contributed to the Jewish rebellions, which were fought by the Jewish people primarily in order to establish an independent Jewish state. Now, we know that's not the true Hebraic people. After Atlantis fell, it's belonged to the land. No matter what, wait for the creator of creations. Not to establish no state. That's not who we are. We know we belong to the land. The land belongs to us. Isn't that more orthogonous than anything when you think about it? It's not it's not complicated. And we know, based upon Rome, the period of Rome, that a lot of that's some fabricated shit. Because see, when Egypt fell, that was the period, and see, y'all have no conscience of time to build these great Tartarian cities to fight something. So they created a false dynasty in a period of lies. You remember the Negro they said belonged to a legion that was slaughtered because they wanted to be Christians? And yet, I've already alluded to two different other Negro legions. See, this is where the change of hand based upon wars and fighting, right? And some people will say, what do you mean? Well, it's not the wars of fighting what you think. They were fighting something else. There wasn't no Romans fighting some goddamn fake ass Jews. That's a creation. Then why the fuck are the Ashkenazi standing at a Roman wall, some calling it the Wailing Wall, if it's the true wall when it's a gigantus? No, they're praying for the sack of all the nations. If you want to call that praying. the birth of Christianity among the Jews, right? All would not remain well after the Romans brought the Jews under their complete subjugation. For the Pels, listen to this, for the whites would continue to on degrading the Jews. Listen to this. All would not remain well after the Romans brought the Jews under their complete subjugation, for the whites would continue on degrading the Jews in their religious faith. But a new religion was born among the Jewish people, which would later on capture the serious attention of Jewish leaders, both religious and politically. Christianity actually did spring to life among the Jews, but after the new religion began to gain a following among the Jews, their leaders would react negatively to the spread of the new Jewish religion. Jewish people had been under the impression of countless generations that salvation would come to their people, but Christianity was awkward to those Jewish leaders, both religious and political, for Christianity obviously offered salvation. But at the same time, Christianity appeared to offer the Jews the worst thoughts of the human imagination possible, or of the possible existence of an Antichrist. Now, they fabricated this story like a motherfucker. First, they want you to look away from South America and North America. They want you to look into a land that they created in posterity after the fact. Long after the fact, like 1800s, when they came together with all this bullshit. And when I told you about that man, was it Ecuador? I forget what so-called state where he was. It was a very dark man with hair looking like Afro Samurai, you know, his little ghost beside him, all white and woolly, with a hunch in his back, walk with a cane, had the face only a mother could love because the motherfucker was ugly, like 2 boots with mud and shit on it, okay? One eye, kind of an Uncle Ruckus thing, like, you know, from what the descriptions that I've read. Very short because of the way he's hunched over, like 4'8" or something. Now, you know the average indigenous or Autochthonous person was taller than all Europeans, right? I'll read that to you after I get done with this. Anyway, you can't make this up, people. Anyway, and that's what they painted Nostradamus as after the French and Spaniards, who they both like that. Okay, I'm serious. When you look at the Notre Dame and you think about Quasimodo, right? The bells, bing, bing, bing. What were the bells for? To fight an enemy.
Serious.
Right? I should have turned that notification on. To fight an enemy. That's what the bells were. And also because of beautiful chimes and harmony when they all get to ringing across the lands. The earth, the frequency, and the vibration. We keep everything protected. Almost musical. Beautiful. Everything would come to life and breathe. Almost like making a shield of some sort. Purpose of the Star Forts, right? And you ever seen the pictures after the fictional Civil War all the way up to World War I? All the bells that these Ashkenazi bastards had these phones coming and destroying and the towers and everything, and how they were taking them and melting them down to make war machines. Sound like some Pink Floyd shit, don't it? Now I know you've been indoctrinated in this Christianity and all that shit. No, I told you Frederick Douglass said, but it's not of this land, so how'd they come up with it? Do you want to go and read the thumbnail again? You got another platform to know what George Wells. It's very important to acclimate to what he says. He didn't say it because he was trying to create chaos and confusion. We're already dealing with that. They consider y'all no more than beasts of the field to invent and do what they want, to subjugate you, to experiment on you and everything else. Not in secrecy no more. You don't have to believe me. Do the research. It was not because the Jews didn't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't want to read no more of this. Anyway, in parentheses, the Jews definitely believed in Jesus Christ. No, they didn't. It is those who believe Jesus Christ is the false prophet. Well, yeah. That don't comprehend. They aren't whistling Antichrist for no particular reason. Who still is extremely important to the Jews after the Jewish leaders made their abrupt decision to reject Christianity's awkward message. Who could blame the Jewish leaders for rejecting what appeared to them to be the worst thoughts of the human imagination possible? Human imagination possible. Christianity eventually spread to the whites, who would eventually become infatuated with Christianity, more important mess. And we know that the word terms white, black started in the 1700s. You see, that's why when you're reading this stuff, I hope he alludes to that. I didn't read all after this. The Jews did, Christianity is more, become infatuated with Christianity's more important message of eternal life, which the Jews did likewise. Although the Jewish leaders were definitely turned off by the Christianity's awkward message, they probably didn't let their hopes down, for although Christianity was awkward to an extent to them, they likely saw some hope and good yet in Christianity, instead of the promised salvation which the institution of religion offers. Those important Jewish leaders undoubtedly realized that something was terribly wrong within Christianity's awkward message. Wouldn't this keep you from circumventing the fact of using your right hemisphere, looking within yourself to see the God as it's written in all the texts and shit, I don't know how many times, for ye are gods, to go into your pineal gland, which they found important to calcify with fluoride and chlorine and all these other chemicals, to understand balance, meditation, which means only silence and calmness. Looking at people, say, look me in the eyes. Most people look person in the eye and they look at one eye like dummies. You make eye-to-eye contact because those are window to the souls to see if they're truthful and if they stand on the foundation that they were given. I am the rock. I am the stone that the Creator made. I am. You dig what I'm saying? Okay. Next, we'll get into the first Holocaust. We're not going to do that right now. Okay. All right, what is that? I think that's 20. Right. Excuse me. We're right by it. So yeah, because before it's going to be Greeks, and we'll get into that later after we get done with Africa or Nubia. Y'all really gonna enjoy that one. If you're not enjoying this one, when I scanned over this, I knew exactly what I was going to read, and I wasn't surprised when I started going back and looking at some other things, especially some of the wars, because of the time periods. And especially some of you are going to be, when I read them, you're going to be, wait a minute, that didn't happen. Then I'll be like, oh, so you paid attention, and you'll see, what I've been alluding to as far as that information. Okay. Excuse me. So let's get into. Let's make sure this is right. Yeah. All right. Oh, for those who came in, we're reading the Algonquin conquest of the Mediterranean region of 11,500 years ago. For those of you who are aware, it's much older than that, but we're not here to, mix hairs. Okay. When I say older, I'm talking about reading here. He should have put about 6 more zeros on there. Seriously. Okay, so this is Nubia, North Nubia. We call it Africa. Well, y'all call it Africa, but North Nubia. And this is the Berbers. All right, the Berbers and the Bandolins. Oh, that feels so good. Okay, the Berbers and the Bandolins. I think it's kind of the Bedouins. The Bedouins are kind of like, some of them were gypsies, I believe. I got to look into that if I remember right. Like I said, some things if I don't remember right off the head, I have to invest a little time and search it out, just to make sure. Okay. I'll look into that. The Bedouins, I believe them to be in a relationship. Gypsies, like when I was telling you about one of the concentration camps. Hold on, one specifically I went to when I was in Germany. It was funny how they said, over 55,000 people were murdered. Come and find out it was much more than that, but only out of that 55,000, There was only like 11,000 that were Ashkenazis. It was mostly Gypsies and Spanish, or Moors, Moriscos, and Germans. But Germans are pretty much the same individuals, regardless of how you feel. It's a big game going on, people. Berber history. Oh, let me remove that. My apologies. Let me remove that. There we go. The Berbers and Bedouins. I'm not tired. I'm well rested. Just getting a little hungry. Berber history is one that is a mystery, but if we research Berber history, we would obviously discover a relationship existing between the Berbers and Atlantis. Now, the Berbers are the descendants of those Atlanteans who invaded Europe and Nubia and the Middle East 11,500 years ago and before. Although we have no evidence to support the theory that the Egyptians and the Semitic people of Nubia and the Middle East were possibly originally part of the Berbers of North Nubia. It is, in my opinion, most likely close to the truth, in his opinion. Very incorrect. And it's their close proximity to the Atlantic. And he could be correct about some things, but I wouldn't say all. Atlantic Ocean, which gives the hint of them being the fathers of the Semites of Nubia and the Middle East. However, concerning Egypt, I realized the Egyptians may have first originally lived in Eastern Europe. And in parentheses, it says the Egyptian Europeans, of course, okay, and so that it actually can represent that the Egyptians are not related to the Berbers and Bedouins. However, as for the likelihood of an earlier Egyptian people who predated the Egyptian Europeans, that's different, of course. All right, so remember. Now, the name Berber is not what the Berbers call themselves, but the name originated from the Greek word barbarians. Barbarians on the front. And that shows you a ton of pictures. All Negroes, or the Guinea, I guess you want to call it. That separates us from when Atlantis fell and the three kingdoms broke up. Now, hold on. I'm gonna mess that word up anyway. So let me go ahead. The name Berber is not what the Berbers call themselves, but the name originated from the Greek word barbarians, which may mean foreign language, apparently. Now, in their language, which nearly 10 million Berbers speak, they call themselves Amaze. That does not sound very familiar to Anishinaabe. All right, Anishinaabe, which is what the Ojibwas, Ottawa, and Potawatomi call themselves. Or the Potomac, the Virginia, what do they call them? Whatever the name of the tribe is. Damn it, I can't get the name off my chest. But the Potawatomi, right, call themselves. Or translated, it means free people. Interestingly, we get the name Amazon from the Amazigh people, whose name may just be derived from the Anishinaabe. According to historians, their original homeland was the East, in the present location of Saudi Arabia. But I do not believe Saudi Arabia or the Middle East was the original homeland of the Berbers. There is one location that is very fascinating to a great many historians, because they do not know just exactly how the Berbers managed to get there. And the reason I believe the Berbers' original homeland was Atlantis is they are Semitic, and as well as belief that the Berbers have occupied northern Nubia for longer than recorded history. And to me, it is no coincidence that the invasion of the Atlanteans of 11,500 years ago, millions of years ago, and the date given for just how long the Berbers have occupied northern Nubia, and for northern Nubia currently coincide to a degree. So I actually, let me read that again, because this one actually didn't have a comma. It should have a comma there. To me, it is no coincidence that the invasion of the Atlanteans of 11,500 years ago and the date given for just how long the Berbers have occupied northern Nubia should be a comma there, currently coincide to a degree comma, so I actually do see a link of some sort in a special kind of way. I realize that historians are more than just a little curious about the Berbers, and although they give the impression that they believe the Berbers are not the Atlanteans, I sense that they are, in a reluctant way, giving hints that the Berbers are the Atlanteans from Atlantis, as are the Dogon. So, what do we know about? Yeah, pop that off. What do we know about when Atlantis fell? Who were the three clans of men and women, and what directions did they go? See, that's where they conflicted, because they don't. Some people who do these scholarly writes and reads, they don't pay attention to the oral traditions of history as told by certain groups, and yet they want to use their names. They didn't even mention the doggone. You can't make this up, people. Obviously, people can. Well, something can, and they've been working hard at it. You know what I mean? I can't wait till we get to the first Greeks. It ties in more of what we read in the latter chapters. You know what I mean? Let me see where we at. Yes, here we go. This is the beauty. This is it. This is it. Make no mistake. Oh, man. This is it. All right, Italy. All right. Yeah, that's correct. All right, listen to this. I'm optimistic, though, and to be honest, I suspect that there are other groups of people living in Western, Central, Northern, Southern, and Eastern, even Eastern Europe, who are directly descended from the Atlantean people. I need to study each European country's past history and their recent history to, if possible, discover anything out of the normal that may exist. What I will look for is language, of course, race issues, and if there is any current unrest among those people against the country they reside in. As for the Atlantean Italians, I reckon that they prefer Italian over anything else. Now, another important bit of information deals with the Egyptian Europeans' history. You heard me right. The more I think about it, the more it seems probable. Instead of the Egyptian Europeans originating in Eastern Europe, where they are the most numerous in Europe now, could it be possible that their original homeland was located in Western Europe, or better yet, Italy? What about the Egyptian Europeans, the Gypsy people? Being the descendants of all of Europe's Atlantean and Spain, the Gypsy population is around 500,000, and it's common to see Asian-looking Italians. If Spain's Roma population is in fact native to Spain and Portugal as well, they are probably the descendants of the Carthaginians and the Basque people, and the descendants of the Iberians. Excuse me. Historically, we have been educated that the Huns invaded Eastern Europe, then contributed heavily to the fall of the Roman Empire. However, since the Eastern Roman Empire survived on for almost 1,000 years after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, it suggests that people from Western Europe, the Carthaginians, Iberians, and maybe the Etruscans, of course, were those Asian people who toppled the Roman Empire. Obviously, something is deeply suspicious about the fall of the Western Roman Empire, which endured extreme conflicts in Western Europe. In parentheses, the Lusitanian and Gallic Wars and others, end after defeating the powerful Carthaginians from Carthage. We're going to stop right there because I want to look something up too. All right, let me tap this right here. Wow. And this, we're talking about by the 5th century. Let me read this part too. Now, by the 5th century, the Roman Empire was involved deeply in some sort of power struggle in Western Europe, with an Asian people who evidently originated in Eastern Europe, who, of course, are referred to as the Huns. Western Europe, however, still had a significant Carthaginian and Iberian population, which probably numbered in the millions in the 5th century. Now, did the Carthaginians and Iberians mount some sort of united attempt to win back their independence from Roman rule And if both the Carthaginians and Iberians did in fact unite to wage a war to win back their independence, they won. After their victory over the Romans, a new Western Europe emerged, which possibly saw Celtic and Germanic tribes settling the former Western European lands of the Roman Empire. Now, I want to go ahead and excuse me, let me go back. Y'all have seen the picture of the Huns. I've shared quite a few of them. You just probably didn't know what they were, but let's go ahead and you see the hijack when I was reading there. When we get to the what we want to label as the Carthaginians, Iberians, and maybe the Etruscans, right? Let's go back. All right. So I want to highlight that. I mean, I'm highlighting something, for posterity. Okay, make it yellow. All right. So highlight that. We're gonna go back over that. Okay. Let's finish up this last one here, and I'm gonna pull something up. Yeah. So this is the part that I really like right here. Where is it at? When we're dealing with Western Europe now, guys. I don't think I put what you call it on this. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's get it in. Excuse me. The Iberian and Lusitanian tribes. From England, the Algonquins may have organized expeditions to explore southern Europe near the Mediterranean Sea area as an possible location to send their settlers. Now, the descendants could be the Iberians and Lusitanians, who were native to Western Europe, particularly France, Portugal, and Spain, and probably England, Ireland, and Scotland as well. Remember I said the TRU? They obviously must have saw Central and Northern Europe as useless, since that area was too cold, and much of that area was covered by glaciers. Now, if they are actually correct about their theory concerning the Ice Age, that is, the Mediterranean Sea obviously was warmer, and we know that the Atlanteans were civilized, so the climate of that region must have been warm enough to grow crops during that supposed Ice Age. Exactly, supposed. If the first wave of Atlanteans actually did settle England, Ireland, and Scotland, their civilized settlements are obviously still in those countries and could be among the current well-known cities there. What follows is a list of native tribes of Western Europe, including that of the Carthaginians, who were possibly the Lusitanians. You see why we're going backwards? Now, they ascribe them to being Asian, but what Asian? We'll see. The Aquitani, Julius Caesar himself described the Aquitani tribe as being an Iberian tribe. Apparently, some people believe the Aquitani to have been possibly of Celtic origins, it appears. Now, their homeland was located in southwestern France, but they were probably subjugated by the invading Carthaginians, who likely continued to rule the homeland of the Aquitani up until the Romans invaded in full force. It was Julius Caesar who completely eliminated the Aquitani tribe, yet the descendants are probably among the Basque people. The Ostutani, excuse me. Their homeland was located within the Iberian Peninsula. Most likely, the Ostutani were subjugated by the Carthaginians after the invasion of Europe some 11,500 years ago. And we know that's bullshit. And we're going to keep reading, but I have to say what I have to say. Now, the Otrogons. Their origins are more difficult to correctly determine, apparently, and some have suggested that the Otrogons were Basque origins, while others suggest that they were originally of Celtic origin, and some scholars speculate that the Otrogons were originated further north towards Germany. The Otrogon tribe, if they were of Basque origins, were most definitely subjugated by the invading Carthaginians. Now, the Bastuli, Their homeland was also located within the Iberian Peninsula. They were also probably subjugated by the invading Carthaginians as well. Let me tap on that. Hold on. I'm going to go and see something right quick. Okay. Let's mark that out. Let's tap on this. Where are we at? Okay. Okay. Now let me put this up there. I figured they would do that. Look like a nigga with dreadlocks. It's all up and down their body. Hold on. Hold on. Now, what was that I put up there? Well, I put up the Carthaginians, Iberians, and the Etruscans people. Let's see what this one puts up. So first of all, the Etruscans. When they say Asian, that's why we say who we are, Afro-Asiatic, right? We talk about Atlanteans, also steeped in the A's. Hold on. Don't get carried the motherfucker away. That's the Carthaginians. Here we go again with some missing noses and shit. Mothers and fathers to a lot of New Age Europeans, but by how and who? Hold on. When you think about the Punic Wars, the real ones, not the fake New Age made up nonsense that they always pushing, because you know their thing is to change history in totality. So that way they can do the dumb shit that they're doing, you know, and you should know that by now. But let's go ahead and so let's back this one up. Pull some shit up. Carthaginian Empire, the Carthaginians, the fellow Carthage, Iberian territories came the Second Punic War. No shit. Yeah, they whitewashing this shit. And even after I showed you all that, right? They're going to whitewash shit, these Ashkenazi bastards. Because that's all they have. They don't have nothing else. You would think that they would do better than, I'm not even going to show this shit, and I'm not even going to entertain the bullshit that they have. Because they lie like a motherfucker. And if they say Asian, so I guess calling the Pelskins Asians too. So Mongols, how do you feel about that? When you want to, and you Chinese and Japanese, well, you two of the same people, a Pel and a people that kind of look like us who are very albino, or leprosy like. Conquer our people, clean lepers don't mean that you went back to your original color. Hold on. That's what I figured they was going to do that. I know it. fucking know it. When you say Iron Age Spain, it's a bunch of bullshit. Hold on. You see the dreadlocks, right? Hold on. But they want you to believe, they would have you think Asian. And that's why I tell you the Asians of today is a new age phenomenon that has nothing to do with origin of truth and history. Just like the original Buddha was a nigger. Okay? But here, bronze portrait bust of Lady Ampuria, Iberia, Spain, circa. All right? 100 AD. So, now if you think I got to keep going, well, it's fine. Because here they are, 400, 300 BC, Etruscan. When you say Asian, but they're black. Well, by the crayon color, right? Okay, let's go one further. Etruscan terracotta relief, 600 BC. Terracotta. For you little Chinese running around looking like you're going to eradicate history, you little secret agent motherfucking monkey squirrels. You get stepped on, electrocuted in wires. Yeah, niggas. See, we was all one people. That's why I say some of you motherfuckers forget about that islands and the place where all the lepers were put, the perverse who wanted to eat flesh and all that other shit. And how y'all kept becoming whatever the fuck it was y'all became. Somebody betrayed somebody. Alexander and his cousin, right? And then they were freed. And it became what they call the desert devils. Cannibalizing people, taking their clothes. And then here come these motherfuckers, they want to call them Moors, which not what they were, who whooped a lot of their asses. It was a whole bunch of them, killed hundreds of thousands of them. But then said, wait a minute, and took them in because of they're like us, they're two-legged, and they educated them. Now you motherfuckers are off the charts. I just wanted to share that and break it down a little something. So you can research what you want with the little information I gave and see what you find and what you pull out of it. Oh, I can go on further and further. I didn't even do the other one. That was just the goddamn Basque, Etruscans, and which cards. That wasn't even all of them. The other ones ain't no different. Niggas. But then you go up into this new paintings based on the 1900s, and everybody look like they pale skin, like they sickly. Fake ass history. But when you go back to the busts and the statues, you see motherfuckers with afros and dreadlocks, nice wavy beards and beautifulness for some fake ass fucking history. So now they can turn around and do all the little dumb perverted things, and y'all still don't want to know that you're in war, huh? All right. We broke an hour and 15 minutes. Yes, I'm gonna come back and read the other books because I love. I've been reading so much, man. Sometimes I feel like I need to take another call. Let me charge this up. It's like 40%. I used to let it go dead, but I don't care no more. All right, there we go. Hope y'all enjoyed that read. So when we come back, we're going to get into Terra Infinita. We're going to read, because this one we're going to the third book. Part 2, the interview with the Helen, the Unknown Lands, and the Last Reset, okay? And then we'll read, let me see here. Remember how so it was chapter 19, the Navigator's Daughter, born in the Ancestral Republic, okay? And then chapter 20, William Morris, the man. It's like a reiteration of certain things. Chapter 21, the Nearlands and the Giants of the Great Tartar who wanted to liberate humanity. Chapter 23, Human Giants and Custodians, the Great War of the Last Reset. You're going to be pretty interested, okay? George, we'll get into George Jones, okay? Pop them 2, and of course, I'm going to have to read another. I got to go on in there. Oh, man. Yeah. Boy lynched at McGee for no special cause. Yeah, it's All right. Remember, put your feelings and emotions out. Let this, and this be the temples of, and that's what it is, that houses the greater you, that source of power. Hey, in the morning, if y'all let me ruin you in the morning and you come around later on, then yeah, you need to go on and stay away for a while because you ain't seen nothing yet. That's not bragging. I'm telling the goddamn truth. You ain't seen shit. As they speed up shit, I'm becoming more harsh and harder. Yeah, I'm gonna activate my Rumble accounts in case these little punks want to act retarded and they want to miss on the juice of what I'm gonna talk about. I can't wait to get the other ones. Thank you guys for helping me purchase these, man. There's 10 books in total. Still got a couple more they're kind of more expensive to order, so but still waiting on 2 more. So it seems like they get more expensive. The Raining Cedars. Y'all just don't have no idea. I know some other books I got. If I was to bring them up, you'd be like, "Where'd you get that?" But no, we ain't gonna do all that. I'm gonna keep it real. So that one was a treat. Somebody who's been to certain places and heard stories, got to see certain things and monoliths and go in the caves, like walk down in valleys and like, nigga, if a flood came, nigga, we'd just be, because you see where the water be, and like, nigga, I could swim, but if I hit the side of that, unknowing certain things at that time, and then walking in the caves that weren't cut off, and walking in there going, you got to be kidding me, and it smell that ancient air, like, and you know that there's something else beyond that, and it would smell like a forest, and smell old, like good old, like you want to go run when you came up out of there. Like, where's that air coming from? It's not the air outside. It's like going into one of these caves and they're taking you and they're looking at you, especially like us brothers, right? They're really looking at us like if we're gonna like change or something metaphysically. I'm serious. And they're like, oh, we can't go no further. You hear the one guy, he's scared shitless or something. Like, what? It was what it was. Well, I'm gonna cocoon up and burst in and become something else. But you can see it's clearly you can go further. And it's like, and the lady go, oh, wait, let's go up. And I'm like, oh, let's go. Yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and shut it off. And I'll be back in a few hours. Let me give him his other treat. And get my food ready. I'll be eating that in about an hour, about 1:30. I'll be eating that, and then we'll get it in. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you guys taking the time to shout your names out, and I'm gonna get off of here. Let me take this right quick. I need my fermentation. Okay, gotta change that well out too. This is good stuff, y'all. You really should invest in it while you can, unless you're gonna start packing some nasty stuff up. I'm gonna watch that. Woo! Good stuff. That's really good stuff. Let's see who all came in. West Side, what's going on? That's right. Eagle and Bull, Papa D, what's going on, beloved? West Side, you know, I was like, I'm talking AAA. Oh, if y'all haven't subscribed to AAA, get over there and subscribe. Appreciate y'all. All right. Mr. C, Quiet Storm, Sean. What I do? What's going on, beloved? Rondo. What's going on? It's still good to see. It's still good to see that usually you the first, but hey, it's good to see. What's going on, beloved? For sure. Devin Moore, salute. What's going on, beloved? What's happening? I hope y'all enjoyed the reading. I really do. Hey, Scott. Peace. What's going on? Bliss up, brother. All right, beloved. Herbo. Salute. What's going on, soldier, beloved? Oh, okay, cool, cool. Got you, West Side, beloved. Got you, brother. T. Hines, what's going on, beloved? Salute, salute. Excuse me, that stuff is kind of nasty. At the same time, it's good. But I gotta boil this ginger and this lemon and stuff too. Snoo, what's going on, baby? Yeah, that's right, baby. She gets the baby. Yes, yes. Anyway, I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I really do. And my little breakdown and shit. But I was like, you know what? I need to show y'all some pictures. There's a bunch of them. You can pull them up yourself, and you see the whitewashing. They just have to do that. It doesn't mean that Pelskins didn't exist, but they didn't exist how we see them today. Okay? You should know that by now. The more you come into knowing certain things, the more you look at people and you see differently. If we look at people and we see them as they see people, then we're not elevating ourselves. If you think that you got to be angry and pissed off at what they've done and what you believe they are, then you're really no match. You have to move beyond them without some ego and narcissistic mannerism and all this other goofy shit. See them for each individual for who they are. And when you start really looking at them, they can't even lie and fake it in front of you. And trust in me that you have the trust enough to know that I'm telling you, you will see through their bullshit. And play along. The intelligent person just plays along. Doesn't mean you gotta fake the phone. Just play along. It's no wearing off of you when a motherfucker standing in front of you lying. I don't have to feel like I recognize you lying, and I don't have to commit myself to you. I could just walk away from you and be like, okay, bro, I'm out. Does a motherfucker have control or ownership over you? Yo, what's up, bro? Why you turn your back to me? Nigga, do you own me, bitch? That's when you address a motherfucker. I'm walking away, nigga, because I don't feel like listening to what the fuck you got to say. I was tempted to be nice. I'm out. Have a good day. But you see now you emotional. Now you go and you correct the motherfucker. What's the fallacy, nigga? But you must be standing on your 10 toes. It ain't about rah. See, this is now you're complicit in the communique. Now, that's a smart motherfucker. He'll de-escalate. Because you should have never escalated. Now, you're not escalating or anything. You're not even in your feelings or your emotions. You're addressing some motherfucker that's full of shit. Because I see you as full of shit, nigga. And you know it just as well as I know it. So we done talking, nigga. And you have a good fucking day and going about your business. See, we think that we got to be all effeminate and all emotional and shit. And some people say that's emotional. That's emotional if that's what you got to do in an emotional state. Yeah, you don't need to be saying nothing then. That shows that you ain't built like that. But if you're addressing it because you really built like that when I say built like that, that's a term that I'm using very quaintly, but very faintly, and because you understand. It means that you have established yourself, you've made a connection with yourself, you're not tolerating no shit. Yet, most people think that when you do this, and when you say something, you express something, because you see it for what it is, not on your opinion, because you know you've been there, and you know this motherfucker. No, not today, nigga. No, you got to go on about your business. And you don't have to say nigga and all that, but you go, no, man, it's real simple arithmetic, family. You don't have no control here, I'm out. All right? Fuck you mean. I'm going about your business. Now, if they interpret that as hate speech and everything else, mean because you just don't want to fuck with them because they full of shit, then if they decide to jump over the fence, then you be the motherfucking electrodes on the fence, or you be the motherfucking bully behind the fence, the pit bull, or the Doberman, or the German, or the Corsico. You be that motherfucker that bite him in case he decides to jump over that fence. But you better make sure that you is that motherfucking guard dog. You get what I'm saying? Or just tell him, hey, it's cool, baby. Hey, look, I got something I gotta do. I'm gonna holler at you later. But see, that's where you step off in a bad direction. Now you've allowed the motherfucker to think they can come back and do it again. No, I'll tell you to your face. All right, man, I'm out, bro. That pretty much solidifies it. All right, peace. Don't say nothing. Let's go on. Now, if they talking about why, yo, cuz, like they control, nigga, you control, nigga. That's when I address a motherfucker. Oh, it ain't even about that. All right, we done. You have a good day. You gotta know how to be able to communicate. If it's a motherfucker that's fucked up, maybe they want your booty. They like you and they want you. Okay. Anyway, let me get the fuck off this. Because I'll go on a whole motherfucker, what you call it. No, I ain't here to do that. Oh, they go to Chinese. Anyway, peace and love, all right? Sisters, whichever one's in here, beloved, you already know I got you. Whichever one's in here, 2 and 1. I'll see y'all here in a few hours, all right? I was going to show you all these Chinese, but today's Monday. What the fuck are they? Anyway, peace.